So how can you get the same field of view as an Alexa 65 on any full frame camera? Well, here are the things you're going to need to do that. Now, just to preface this is not going to turn your full frame camera into a 65mm camera. It's just going to achieve the same field of view as it would if you were using spherical lenses on an Alexa 65. I'm using the Keep-On Pentax 6x7 to Sony E-mount, Pentax 6x7 lenses, and the SLR Magic 1.33x 50 adapter. Your resolution and detail will depend on the camera system that you're using. I myself am using the Sony a7S III, which is being outputted to the Atomos Ninja 5. So how do all these adapters get you that field of view? For those of you who care about math, this is where all the geek shit's gonna start to happen. Well, the way it works is the focal reducer that we have attached to our full frame camera is going to increase our field of view by 0.7 times by using as much as the image circle from the medium format lens as possible. So we're using the Pentax 6x7 75mm lens right now. So we're gonna take that focal length and we're going to multiply it by 0.7x, which is going to come out to about 52mm. So our new field of view is 52mm with the characteristics of a 75mm lens. So remember that number. Now to get the additional stretch factor on either side of our frame, we're gonna attach our anamorphic adapter. So we're using the SLR Magic 1.3350, and we're gonna take that number, 1.33, and we're going to divide that by our new focal length, which is 52. And that comes out to around 39mm. If you wanna round up to 40, that's fine. So now our new field of view is around 40mm while maintaining the characteristics of a 75mm lens, which is pretty much equivalent to what a 75mm lens would be if you were shooting on IMAX or medium format. So how do you know that this entire setup actually gets you the same field of view as a 65mm camera? Well, a while back, I had some prismless ground glass created so I could make a medium format adapter. And the only caveat to that is that whenever you're using your camera setup with a macro lens to focus on the ground glass, to get the image from the medium format lens projected onto it, you have this telescopic thing coming out from in front of your camera. Even though your setup is cumbersome, you're also gonna see the texture of the ground glass. You're gonna see the dust, the specks, depending on how good the ground glass is. After I did some comparison and measuring with it, it comes out to the same field of view, but with a 240:1 crop, which is pretty standard today. And the differences are actually pretty staggering. The ground glass adapter is going to be much softer. It's going to have a more filmic look to it. But this whole setup here is going to be much more compact, lighter, and you're also going to have a more detailed image, especially when it comes to wanting to take advantage of the color science of whatever camera setup that you're using. Now you could apply this to, a Red Monstro or an ARRI LF or, any Sony full frame camera or Canon full frame camera for that matter, just depending on how much money you're wanting to spend. So why would you want to do a setup like this? Well, large format basically compresses your background. And since you have a wider field of view with longer lenses, the image is going to feel larger. And that's why IMAX images look massive. One of the most cited films when it comes to background compression is Stand By Me, which is the train bridge scene. The cinematographer used a 600mm lens on one end of the bridge where the boys were, and the train was on the opposite side of the bridge for safety. And since the lens was so long, focal length wise, it compressed the background to where it looked like it was right behind the kids on the bridge. So you can apply that method to this entire setup here, just on a much smaller scale. Longer focal lengths, like with telephoto lenses, are gonna give you a shallower depth of field, you're gonna have a larger field of view, and your background's gonna be compressed and your image is gonna feel much larger. Also, using medium format lenses, such as the either Pentax or Mamiya, they were all made in the late 70s and the 80s. So you're gonna be using vintage glass and you're gonna have a nice soft detailed image without having to worry about, which filter should I use? Should I use Polar Pros or Tiffins or the new Moment Cine Blooms? Definitely you can add that to it to, give your image a more unique look. But if you're looking for something that's kind of all in one, most of those lenses will already have those applications right there for you right out of the box. Now, your depth of field is definitely going to determine on the type of medium format lenses that you choose. Mamiya lenses are going to be a lot faster and they're going to give you a much shallower depth of field. The downside to it is the cost of the entire setup. The Keep-On Speed Booster goes for about $700 and your medium format lenses are going to range from anywhere from $150 to $800 depending on their condition and what brand you decide to go with. Mamiya right now is the cheapest option, but you're also going to be sacrificing sharpness for faster lenses. Hasselblad is one of the most popular ones that you can go with, but you're going to be paying a little bit more because of the name. And like I said, I chose Pentax. It's kind of, a nice even middle ground area between those two. And the SLR Magic adapter right now goes for about $500 on B&H. And that's not even including, the rig that you need to get. So like a Ninja 5, for example, is also $600. Your full frame setup can range anywhere from $1,200 to $3,000. Now, if you already have a camera setup similar to this, I invested about $2,000 in this whole rig, including an array of other lenses as well. And that is the fraction of a cost of what it would be to rent an ARRI LF or rent an Alexa 65 when you can just own something that will achieve the same field of view. Now, I'm not saying it's also going to get you, the same color science. It's not going to be the same look as an ARRI. But if you're wanting to achieve large format, this is definitely the way to go. If you found the information in this video helpful, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one.